and welcome back to Level Up Your Inner Power, the podcast where we explore how you can shift and transform your energy to level up your life. I'm Danielle Flood.
And I'm Juliet Martine. And for the next few episodes, we're actually focusing on how you can be your own boss when it comes to taking charge of your own energy. Starting with ways to take charge of your energy during those times in life when things feel a bit out of control and maybe you're feeling overwhelmed with everything that's going on. If you've been feeling like life has been running you lately instead of you being in control of your life, well, listen in because we're going to be sharing some really powerful shifts you can make to get back in the driver's seat, to take charge of the way you're showing up so you can feel a whole lot more in control again. So straight up, I want to make this really big statement. Absolutely everything is energy. The big E word.
Absolutely everything, right?
Everything is energy. I just want to put right out there, right up front, you listening, me talking, this microphone I'm speaking into, your body, your clothes, the people in your life, absolutely everything. I really mean everything is made of energy. Our body, our mind, our heart, our experiences, our physical reality, it's all energy, right? And we tend to forget that the most valuable thing we have is our energy. Our energy is the single most valuable asset we have. And I cannot emphasize this enough. I'm going to repeat it again just in case it didn't quite land. Your energy is the single most valuable asset you have. It's true. And we don't even realize how valuable our energy is until it's not working so well. You know, when our energy is up, when it's elevated, when it's flowing well, we feel great.
Yep.
And our life flows accordingly. And the experiences we attract into our physical reality feel really good for us. But when our energy is down, we'll start to feel blocked, stuck in our life. Things won't be flowing as well. And that's when things can start to become a bit chaotic, a bit out of control. And we can start to spiral down even further in our energy. And life becomes a real struggle, you know, and it becomes even harder, even more challenging for us to be able to attract the things we want into our life.
Yeah.
So you and I, Danielle, as you're listening now, you know, I want you to realize that your energy is the most valuable thing you own, more than the clothes you're wearing or the car you drive or the home you live in or the job you do or the person you're in a relationship with or anything else you might have going on in your life.
Yeah.
If your energy is the most valuable asset you have, what's your energy like right now? Like at any moment, we can check in and ask, how's my energy feeling right now? Is it up? Is it down? Is it expanded? Is it contracted? And here's, you know, the main thing we want you to take away from this podcast is that you own your energy. You are the boss in charge of your energy. You are, and this is a term I coined a few years ago, you are your own CEO, your own chief energy officer. And we all have the power to take charge of our energy, which is a kind of C energy today, taking charge, no matter what is or isn't going on in our lives. And I really invite you to own that you are in charge of your most valuable asset that you have. You are in charge of your own energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I am definitely my own energy boss now. But I can tell you, Juliet, it wasn't always that way. You know, for most of my life, I handed my energy over to everyone and everything around me. My mood, my focus, my state, it all depended on what was happening outside of me, which was all fine when life felt good, when everything was flowing, people were kind, things were going my way. My energy felt light and it felt easy. But, you know, when life got a bit messy, which it does often for many of us. You know, when things didn't go to plan or when everything felt too heavy to carry, my energy, man, it just crashed right along with it. Like everything just crashed. And I think a lot of people are feeling that right now. Like life is just a bit too much. You know, I think about those mornings when before your feet even hit the floor, you're already reacting to something. You're already thinking about the emails, the messages, the deadlines. Oh my God, I've got to get breakfast for the kids. Oh my God, there's going to be traffic. I've got bills to pay. How's my health? How's my relationships? Like there's just so much that goes on as soon as we wake up, and the world feels so loud and demanding. And we just have to keep going and reacting and responding and doing. And by the end of the day, it's not just that we're tired from what we've done. We're drained from everything that we've absorbed. And that was me for years, constantly reacting to my life instead of directing my energy through it. And honestly, when I learned how to do that, like to direct my energy and manage my energy and know that I'm in charge of my energy, man, when I started to learn how to do that, that's when everything changed for me. It's when I realized I was in control and I was the one person that could take my energy back and no one else.
And sometimes, you know, it can feel like life is running us. And we're only just managing to hold on, you know, we're kind of white knuckling our grip on the steering wheel, clinging on for dear life while we're kind of riding it out. And it doesn't matter how organized we are or how much we try to plan or how many fantastic systems we put in place. Sometimes it does feel like things are out of control and we can get really overwhelmed by it all.
Yeah.
Everything is energy, so there are so many things that can affect our energy, the people around us, the spaces that we're in, our own internal conditioning. But today I'd really love for us to focus on one specific aspect of that, which is how we can step into being our own energy boss, our own CEO, during the times when it feels like life's circumstances, you know, what's going on around us are kind of spinning out of control. And you know, there's times when we're maybe struggling to keep up. Because in reality, when life's out of control, and sometimes it is out of our control, really there's only one thing that we can take charge of, and that's our own internal state, our own energy.
Yeah. And when I think about being the boss of my own energy and what it means to be my CEO, I'm like, hell yeah, like bring that shit on, because we're not here just to survive another week on caffeine and chaos and people pleasing, and we're not here to stay stuck and play small. We're just not here for that. Like you are 100% in charge of your energy, and you get to take charge of the way you use the assets of your time, your emotions, your frequency, and your energy. Because the moment you start taking responsibility for what's going on within your energy, that's when you take your power and your control. And that's when life responds differently. And we're not talking about trying to fix things from the outside or forcing life into being what you want it to be. We're actually talking about how we can activate our inner power in ways that can shift our energy to take charge of ourselves and our energy, so we can move through the chaos in ways that elevate our life rather than being a victim to what's going on around us.
That sounds nice.
It does, doesn't it?
I could have done with that a week ago. You know, not long ago I had this week where I felt like everything was chaotic and falling over in my life, and I was definitely not in charge or control of anything. And the project I'd been working on for months kind of hit this wall, and there were a few tensions in my relationship with my partner, and I'm not exaggerating. My car literally broke down on the freeway and had to be towed. If that wasn't telling me something, I don't know what was. And, I could feel all of the emotions and the frustrations coming up and the tightness starting to increase in my body. And, we can feel it, right?
Yeah.
When our energy is dropping, it feels like our head is spinning and we're being pulled in lots of different competing directions with competing demands in our life, and our body starts to get tense and tight, and we're just trying to keep it together because we're frightened that if we let go, everything's just going to friggin' fall apart, right? Mm-hmm. And so we go into this hyper control mode. But, sometimes that's our response to the messiness of life. And when we try to tighten our grip to get back in control again, and we double down on our planning and our timing, and we try to squash it all in until we're totally overstretched and tearing our hair out, wondering why nothing seems to be working. And we're just kind of spinning our wheels and trying to control what's happening, because we're just trying to feel safe again, and to know that we're going to be okay. But I have to confess, the more I try to do that, to double down on the control, the more challenging life becomes.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
Because, when we're busy reacting to everything that's going on in our life, the reality is we're not flowing with the energy of what's happening. We're resisting it. We're pushing against it. We're squeezing it. We're fighting it. We're splitting our energy and wasting our energy trying to control things that are actually out of our control. Like, you'll relate to this, Danielle, trying to control what other people think of us to keep everyone around us happy and liking us.
Oh, God, and we've got so much control over that, haven't we?
We do, masters of people-pleasing. Or, we're stressing out trying to meet unrealistic deadlines. That's so much a pressure of our lives these days for so many people. Or, we're trying to force outcomes that just aren't going to happen the way we want them to. And that's when we exhaust ourselves. We burn out, we get sick, our relationships become strained, we lose touch with our inner guidance. That's such a valuable asset that we can use, but we completely disconnect from it, and any ability to move through life with ease and grace, it just goes out the window. It's completely gone because we're constantly reacting to what's going on in our efforts to control life and to control all the things that aren't even ours to control in the first place.
Yeah. And there's also another layer to this, which is why life feels so out of control in the first place. Because often it's not just circumstances, it's energetic. It's what's going on inside of us. Like I remember a time a few years ago, like the job that I had wasn't aligned with me anymore. I wasn't happy with a few things in my life, and life just seemed to be taking a turn in a direction I didn't want it to be going. And I remember I kept asking myself, why is this happening to me? And I was so angry, and I was really frustrated, and I felt out of control, and I felt really powerless, and I felt like the world had just taken over my life, and I had no say in it. And I remember I just took some time out just to reflect on things, and because I was going just a little bit crazy, and in that moment of reflection, it hit me. Like, I can't control what's happening. Like, there are things that I just cannot control, but I can take charge of who I'm being in it and who I'm being through it and how I maintain my energy during it. Like, they are the things that I can control. And I think we forget that because we get caught up so much on the things that we can't control that we forget that there are so many things that we can, and that taking charge of our own energy, it's not about forcing outcomes. It's about choosing how we want our energy to be, which then changes the way we respond to all the chaos. When our energy is in chaos, our actions will reflect that.
Oh, absolutely.
We will be, we'll be reactive. We will be so reactive. But when we know how to reset our energy in ways that it becomes more steady and aligned internally, our actions will also come into alignment with what's needed in that moment. And we'll be in a much better place for us to then respond rather than react to what's going on around us. And the thing we so often forget and really need to remind ourselves of is this. Life sometimes takes control away from us on purpose. Now, I know that can be hard to swallow, but let me say that again. Life sometimes takes control away from us on purpose, and it does it to get our attention, to show us what's out of alignment. And that could be something that's within ourselves or in terms of the path we're taking. Life, our higher self, the universe is stopping us in our tracks with chaos for a reason. Now, it took me a long time to actually believe this because I was like, this is all bullshit. But it actually is true. Like, there is a reason that the chaos is there, and it's to force us to stop and to pause and to look at what's not working for us. It could be an old habit, a way of thinking, a person in our life, a goal we're pursuing, a limited belief, an old pattern that's past its use-by date and it's no longer serving us. Like, there could be so many reasons. And I know it can feel really crap in those moments, and sometimes it can feel absolutely terrifying when it seems like everything in our life is falling apart. But if you realize the chaos you're experiencing is actually a signal, it's a signal for us to pay attention and recalibrate our energy, who we're being, how we're showing up in life, then we can start to embrace the chaos and realize it's actually a good thing. I mean, I might even go as far as to say it's a great thing. And we can welcome it in ways that we're kind of becoming a new version of ourselves out the other side. Because on a soul level, we're ready to level up. We're not only ready, but we're actually bursting at the seams for it to happen. And that's why those chaotic moments happen in our life, right?
Yeah, they're there to kind of strip everything away. You know, if you think about a tornado storm, what does it do? It rips through and destroys everything in its path, and it leaves this clear slate. And sometimes when our soul is wanting us to level up, it needs to shake us out of our ordinary routines and out of our normal mindset, and it needs to, create that storm around us so that it can blow everything away, and we're forced through the storm to actually level up the way that we're flowing with life and what's going on for us internally. And it can be a really difficult thing to do when we're in the midst of that chaos.
Yeah.
When we take a moment to stop and pause and remind ourselves that this chaos, this falling apart, this overwhelm isn't happening to me, but it's happening for me, because there's another part of me that's now ready to be released and let go, to maybe to surrender an aspect of myself or my life or my path or my way of operating that no longer serves me. That's when the magic of that release happens. And that's when we actually find that we get back our power to do things differently, which is what leveling up is all about. So, what actually works when it feels like life is out of control and everything's falling apart? What works for you? If you can't control the storm that's going on around you, because the storm actually needs to happen, it's meant to happen, it's actually happening for us so we can step into our next level of being, what can we do to shift our inner state so we can take charge of our energy as the energy bosses that we are? We can take charge of our energy in the way we're showing up, because that's where your real inner power lies.
Exactly. And the truth is, the only thing we ever really have control over, like the only thing we have control over, is how we manage our energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where our power lies. It's what we get to choose. And ultimately, it's what we're responsible for, especially if we want to flow with life more easily. I mean, I think one of the biggest lessons I have learned over time, and I've learned a lot of things over the time, but I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that there are things that are within my control and there are things that are not in my control. And when I stop trying to change the things that are not within my control, that's when I start to take back my inner power. Because we're not in control of anything really, except what we're choosing to focus on and how we're choosing to react or respond to life's happenings based on what's going on for us internally.
So true.
So think about it. Like, do we really have any control over other people we're interacting with, over the world around us, over what other people are thinking about us? No, nothing. We don't have control over any of that. We take back control when we stop trying to control the things that are outside of our domain.
Yeah.
When we pull back our energy to focus on the things we can control, and then we just let go of the rest.
Yeah.
And if you're having one of those moments when everything feels too much, I just want you to stop trying to force it all into place.
Oh, good advice. Good advice.
You pause, you ground yourself, and you ask, who am I choosing to be in this? And how am I choosing to be in this? And just focus only on what's immediate and influenceable. Maybe it's your next breath. Maybe it's your next email. Maybe it's the next conversation you're about to have. Or maybe it's simply holding your child while they're having a meltdown due to sensory overload in the supermarket aisle. We've all been there. Even if it's just calm, even if it's just present, that's enough to start taking back control and to start reactivating your inner power. I mean, for me, I've found there are 3 things I always come back to, and I'd love to share them. And these are my energy resets. They're simple.
Oh, I love that. Resets.
Energy resets.
That's what we need when things are getting out of control, resetting our energy.
And you know me, Juliet, I like things to be simple. Simple yet powerful shifts that help me come back to myself when life feels like it's getting just a bit out of control. And the first one, which is, I think, the most powerful one, is my breath, because it's the fastest way I know to reset my energy, and it works instantly. And there's one technique that I use all the time. It's called a physiological sigh, and it's as simple as 2 short inhales followed by 1 long exhale. So I want us to try it if you're in the position to do so as you're listening. And what it is I'll take you through it, and then I'm going to do the breath. So you take 1 deep inhale through the nose, then a second quick top-up inhale, and then you slowly exhale all the way out through your mouth. So it sounds like this. Inhale. So it's 1 deep in through the nose. The second one. And then a slow exhale. You do that a few times. I go about 3 to 5 rounds and just notice what happens. You'll notice your heart rate starts to drop, your body relaxes, and your mind starts to clear. And it works because that long exhale activates your vagus nerve. And that's the switch that moves your body from fight or flight into rest and restore. And this breath, it's something that you can do anywhere. You can do it in traffic, you can do it before bed, or right before you're walking into a big meeting. And it just takes a minute or 2, and you'll shift your entire internal state. And that's what resetting your energy looks like. It's simple, it's intentional, and it's powerful, and it's your breath.
I really love that, Danielle, that, what you're saying, the physiological sigh. When I do it, it's the, like on that exhale, I give a really big sigh out. Yeah. And that totally does what you're talking about. It relaxes, the body. It takes me out of fight or flight when I'm trying to control things and takes me back into that rest and restore. So that sigh action after the quick inhalations, it's, like you say, simple, intentional, and powerful.
Very powerful. That breath, that 2 in, 1 out is just, I've done a lot of breathing techniques as well, and that I find is the quickest and the most powerful to help you reset your energy.
And as you say, it's the, focus on the things that we can control and let go of the things that we can't. And the very first thing that we can control, that we have total control over in the moments when things are getting chaotic, is our breath. I mean, it's so simple, but we forget about it because we don't breathe intentionally. This is a really powerful technique that you're sharing, Danielle.
Yeah, absolutely. And the second way I like to reset my energy when everything starts to feel like it's out of control is that I remember that my body and my energy are completely connected. So when I feel myself dipping, I don't fight it. I shift it. So what does that look like? I'll change my posture. So I'll stand taller, or I'll roll my shoulders back, or I'll lift my chin. I'll change my focus. So I'll look up instead of looking down, or I'll look out instead of down. I'll just shift the focus. And then I change my language. So I'll change it to, I've got this, instead of I'm exhausted. Those tiny physical shifts can completely reboot your internal energy system. And the more you practice, the faster your body learns to respond. So if even now, as you're listening, you just straighten up your posture, or just roll your shoulders back a little bit, or lift your chin. Even those little shifts, instantly you can feel the energetic change in your body. Then when you change your focus and you're looking up instead of down, or whatever that might be, that will then add another layer of energetic shift.
So Danielle, can I just check with you there when you say change your focus? You're meaning not what you're mentally focusing on, but what you're physically looking at with your eyes, like shift your eyes to gaze on something different.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, shift your gaze so that you're looking at something different. And when our energy is down, we'll automatically look down.
Right.
So then look up.
So when we raise our eyes to look higher, that actually elevates our energy.
100%. Yeah. So it's just these little, tiny little physical shifts. And then also that language shift is tiny, but it's also very, very powerful because we automatically, when we're feeling depleted, we're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't do this. I'm exhausted. But you know what? You just simply say, you know what? I've got this. I can do this. We got this. Like no matter what that talk is, if you change that into a positive, it'll automatically shift that energy. And those tiny things will really just start to reboot your energy system. So when it comes down to it, resetting your energy, it's not about doing more. Like we're not asking you to do more because we already do enough. But when we're talking about resetting your energy, it's about learning how to consciously shift your state physically, mentally, and emotionally so you can show up from a place of calm, focus, and flow. Because when your energies align, everything else starts to flow too.
And like I was saying earlier, it's when we're resisting the chaos and things being out of control, then we're fighting against it and we're not able to flow with the energy of it. We're not able to allow ourselves to be carried where the energy is wanting to take us, because we're frightened it's going to be, so out of control that we're going to be consumed by the chaos. But
yeah, so true.
That's not actually the case. So it's all about going with the flow of the energy rather than against it. And, even in martial arts, that's a move. When someone's coming at you with an attack, you receive the punch, move with it, and then turn the energy around. And so these energy resets are like, your internal martial arts of going with the flow of energy and then turning it around through your breath or through your body posture or where your eye gaze is or the mental talk. So they're really powerful ways that you've just shared, Danielle. And then I'd like to just contribute another way that we can shift our energy because, and it's something that we've spoken about quite a bit before on our podcast here. It's one of the best ways we can take charge of our energy and stand fully in our power. It's to reframe the way we're choosing to look at things.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, I think it was maybe Wayne Dyer coined the phrase, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
Yeah.
So instead of asking, why is this happening to me, we can ask, what is this moment actually showing me? What's it giving me an opportunity to do differently? What within me is this experience wanting to bring forth? And I want to kind of pop few little brain cells here and offer something. What if every single thing that's happening in your life, including the total chaos when things are spinning out of control or when you feel totally overwhelmed or anxious, what if every single thing is actually giving you an opportunity to step into greater alignment with your higher self? And every time things aren't going so great, it's showing you where you're out of alignment with your source. And it's actually giving you an opportunity to realign with flow and allowing and trust and surrender and patience and acceptance. To really flow with everything else that's wanting to be born out of this moment. What if there are truly no bad things and only thousands of endless of opportunities to make the choice to bring ourselves back into alignment with our soul, with our spirit, with what our soul's plan is for us and with our higher energy and radiant self. I mean, what if, and I've used this countless times myself to remind myself, what if in the darkest of moments, in the most chaotic of times, in the times when it feels like, we really don't know what to do, what if it's all happening because we're right on the edge, on the precipice of a breakthrough? What if it's because we're about to go through the biggest expansion in our life and our soul is doing everything it can to crack us open even wider to receive more energy, more light, more happiness, more love, more abundance into our life?
Yeah.
What if there truly are no problems and simply the dark before the dawn? And if every crazy moment in life is helping us prepare to receive even more light, more certainty, and more radiant abundance into our life. Suddenly we're not a victim anymore.
Yeah.
We're actually a mega powerful being that's being given the opportunity to take charge of our internal state, our C energy for this week, to get back in flow with what our soul is wanting us to open to so we can receive more of the good stuff in life. And I just want to leave you with the thought that when you step into being the CEO, your own chief energy officer in your life, you take charge of how you choose to look at what's happening in your life. And when you do that, that's when you get back in the driver's seat while allowing, and this is the important thing, allowing your higher self, your spirit, your soul to guide you as to where you're going. That's when we all level up to operate at an entirely new level.
And if today's episode hit home, if you're feeling that nudge to take your energy back, share this with someone who's ready to rise with you. And we would love to hear from you. Send us a message or tag us in a post and tell us how you took your energy back. Because when you level up your energy, you give others permission to do the same. And get ready, because in 2026, we're bringing that energy to life through our Level Up Nights, high vibe, real talk events that will help you shift, expand, and connect on a whole new level. Until next time, reset your energy, focus on the things that you can control, and remember, you are the chief energy officer of your life. Now go and run it like the powerhouse you are. Bye for now.